Hello guys, so it's Bernie back again. So today on Bernie's Garage we are going to show you how I narrow a 9-inch forward rear end. Came in and we picked up some stuff from BJ. He got some 4-link bars here. This was BJ's rear end, and it was too narrow under his truck, and it's pretty well not as wide as Jordan wanted it with the wheels that he had. So worked out a deal. I'm going to swap him some stuff and for that. But anyway, right now we're going to take this rear end and we're using the 4-link brackets off it, and we're going to use the housing ends. So shortly from now I'm going to show you. We take the housing ends off. We'll just cut them here and take the ends off, and we'll show you how we narrow our rear end for discuss that. Okay, so what we have here at the rear end, you can see the tube runs out here. Now, I don't mind the welding here because sure, this was joined up a couple times, and anyway, but what happens is this flange here is stepped, and it actually goes into about right there. So what we end up doing, we end up cutting around the flange, and we'll tap it out, and there'll be a shoulder all the way up to here that we can tap and put into the new rear end. So right now we're going to take the grinder, we're going to go around here, try not to cut all the way through it because we don't want to leave the shoulder on it, but we see we can cut just the tubing and leave the piece inside. So we go on that there now, and we have a little look. So we, as you can see, I ground around it, and I've been tapping it now. So basically, after you go around it, what we try to do is just cut the housing end, and that's it. So as you can see, it obviously wasn't there. Alright, so what we do, that's one housing end. So do the same thing with the other one, go around it with the grinder, tap them off, then we have both ends. So if you look at the pieces we have here, we have an old housing, and it's missing a few studs right now, but we're using it for Mockup right now. We're going to clean all the welds off a little later. We just cut the brackets off, rough cut. I started cleaning one side, but anyway, that's a job for later. So if we look at the parts we have, as you can see again, we cut the brackets off the other housing that we had. So now we're left with two of them, and we're left with the two side axles and the housing, and that there should be enough to narrow it quite easily. So we'll start. What I always do is I take the housing ends and I slide them down the axle shafts. Now I'm going to do that on both of them, and what I'm going to do then, I'm going to stick the axle shafts in the center section. So I'll do that next, and we'll take a look at it then. Okay, so let's see, I set the camera up there somewhere half decent. I'm just going to stay there or not. So we have it on the floor, unfortunately. I don't have anything I can stand up all on at the same time. So anyway, what I do with it is, not all spools are the same, obviously. As you can see, this one here, it's a different case. I think this is it's a little over 300, or I think it is a 300 bearing case, because you need just a 35 spline spool, and actually it is a different spooling tool, because most 35 spline spools you can't actually put in a stock case, got an aftermarket case. Well, being this must be one that Ford made that had that size bearing, because I know in my Firebird I had to step up to 2 and 3 1/4 bearing, sorry. So as you can see, the spline starts right at the very end here, and one spline starts in a little ways, and on the other side same thing, the spline starts pretty well there. So what I like to do, I like to lay the rear end, or lay this down here, and of course this is an aftermarket axle, it has lots of spline onto it, so we're going to enter that in. So this, as you see, the spline starts right there, so we're going to make sure it goes in most of the way. So we'll probably bring it in about right there, because we're trying to keep this rear end a little more narrow. A lot of times you just shove them almost all the way in. So we'll take the other one now, and same thing, spline starts here, make sure it goes in, so anyway, actually it's going to be in this position here, which is what we want. So we'll do what I'll do now, depending on how you want this in your car. We'll take a measurement of the axle tubes, and just make sure it's center. And what we end up doing then, if we have to push one in a little bit more, pull one out a little bit more, we have a spline here to do with this, because it's they're long. Most factory probably got 1.25 inches. This one here actually, that's probably 2.5 to 3 inches. Okay, so we have the measurement for the pinion angle, center of the pinion, out to each side is probably around 23 inches. So now we know we had that centered. The thing is too, is that you had to realize that not every vehicle got the pinion in the center. My Firebird, all the Pontiacs and the Camaros, and I don't know how many more other GM products, whatever, it could be a lot, but all the pinion and the transmission and the draw shaft is all offset to the passenger side at least 1 inch. It doesn't run centered on the car. So while we have this here now, this is centered up. I'm going to check the actual Mustang rear end we took out of it, just to see is that running center in the car. If it is, it's fine. We'll go with that. But what we have now is, if we're going to do this now before it checks it, but anyway, what we'll do now, we have this centered here now. So the easiest thing to do now, so I usually does it, I'll take a measurement just from the end of that housing there, to say, to where the flange is cut off. Hard to do with the tape and the camera at the same time. But basically we're going to measure the distance from right here to right here. And we write that on the axle tube, and we do the same thing to the other side. So once we got the two measurements off the side, is the side of the case to the edge of the bearing end, we'll write them on the rear end just so we don't lose track of them, whatever. We'll haul the two axles out, load the center section in the side of the case, and then we'll just take a measurement from the side of the case out to the end of the axle, and we just chop the axle off there. And it's easy as that. So we'll do that there now shortly, but in the meantime I'm going to just measure up the pinion in the Mustang to make sure that is actually centered before we put a rear end in with a centered pinion where it's not supposed to be or doesn't have to be, because we're still going to keep the drive line as straight as we can. It's not all the times necessary. A lot of vehicles, even from the factory, don't run down the center, but we'll see what the original one is, and we'll try to put it back here. Okay, so it's the next evening, and we went out and measured the pinion offset in the Mustang, and it is offset. It's offset like 3/4 of an inch, or between 3/4, probably around that, maybe closer to 1 inch to one side. Anyway, after looking at the axle that we have here, when I started to move the axles in and out, I can't shove this one in far enough or pull this one out enough to get the same pinion offset. So what we have here, we have the pinion centered. So that's the way it's going to go in the car. So anyway, getting back to it, what we end up doing, we took the measuring tape now, and we'll take it and we'll measure from the side of the housing here. Where's it going? To that flange here. As you can see there, it's 11 inches. And we've done the same thing on the other side, and the other side measures 12 and 1/8. So I've done, it's kind of hard to see right here, so I write 11 inches here, and I wrote 12 and 1/8 here. So what we do now is we pull the axles out, we'll install this, our latest center section into the housing, and we'll take our measuring tape and we'll measure from the corner of the center section out 11 inches on this side, 12 and 8 on the other side, and just chop the tubes off, and that should put it enough for the ends on and put it right where we want it. So that's what we'll do now. We'll drop it in, and I'll show you making a measuring mark now in a second. Okay, so we have it in there now. We'll take a measuring tape right here, and as you know, we had 11 marked here, so we'll measure from the side out. 11 inches right here, and on this side over here, flip them over, and measure 12 and 8. Alright, so just keep in mind, when we do it, we had the axle on the floor, we had the center section, the way it will be in the car, the axles are the same, everything's in the same position. So that axle obviously goes here, this one goes here. So all we have to do now is cut the tubes off, and then we can put the bearing ends in, and that's pretty well it. We just tack on for now, because we're going to put the 4-leaf brackets under the housing. So anyway, here you go. You can see the end down there, right there. Obviously this one here is I got away with not having to clean all this up down here out of pieces, because we don't need that piece. So anyway, now we're gonna shove the side axles in and see how it looks. Hopefully they're cut the right length. They should be. The camera set up there. And there's one. And that's the second one. We'll tap in with the hammer. So anyway, all we'll do now, glasses out for a second. We'll grab a jack stand, just lay the pinion down flat, and we'll turn these to the right orientation. Should be like that. When she's down, the axle ends are they're going like level, they're not up and down. You can see this one here. This one had to be turned like that. So anyway, that's pretty lit. Now we'll tack it, and then we'll try it in the car. So we just got a sunmat laid in the back of the car, and we'll do some mock-up on it eventually once the brackets and that slid onto it. But that was just for a little look. So as you can see, you can come over here. If the wheels are way in, like they're way inside the quarter panels. So that's probably as far in as what we're going to do. So what we're looking at right now when we goes at it, we probably make the chassis just to the inside of the tires, which looks about 28 to 30 inches. We'll make it that size, and when we do get our wheels, we'll just get the offset so it goes out. So car should be able to, I measured it up, if we do that, it should have almost 20 inches in the wheel wells, so between that and the frame. So with any luck we'll have it so we could actually put a small tire or a big tire under the car, so it should be enough room. So I mean, just looking ahead for some of the stuff when we get at it. But as you see over here, yeah, it's still ways inside the wheel well. But that's fine for right now, because at least that's as far in as we'll ever want the wheel to go, and we got lots of room to come out to the outside. So until we get the brackets, that's mostly the video for just narrowing the rear end. But like I said, we'll continue with some pictures or some video footage of probably making the frame rails and some stuff. So that's the narrowing the rear end part, and that's how we do it, and that's for a 9-inch Ford anyway. So until then, we'll see you later.